William had $500. He spent 24% of his money on transport and 36% on food. How much money did he have left? Okay, so if William had $500, and how much did he spend? 24% on transport and 36% on food. So if he had $500 and he spent 24% on transport, which means the bus or something like that, or car ride or gas or whatever, and he spent 36% on food. I guess the question is, how much money does he have left? Well, he started off with 100%. He subtracted off 24%, and he subtracted off 36%. Forgive me for my sloppy writing. I'm not used to writing around a computer and then on, vertically, but we'll try to do that. So let's see. What is 100 minus 24 minus 36? I guess I'm going to add the 24 and 36 together, and then I'm going to subtract both of those, or that from 100. This would be 10, so that would be like a 0 and a 1. This would be 5, so that's 60%. So really, I guess what I'm asking is, what is 100% minus 60%? Okay, now it becomes much easier. That's equal to 40%. So William has 40% left over because he spent 60% total of his money. Well, if you started off with $500, what the question really is asking for is, what is 40% of 500? 500 times 40%. I think the best way I would like to do this is, what is 10%? Because I can multiply that 10% by 4 to get the 40%. So 10% of 500, that's pretty easy. 50. You just move the decimal place one time to the left. Okay, this is 10%. To get 40%, I just multiply this 50 by 4. So 50 times 4 is equal to 200. So this dude, what is his name? William, now has $200 left because he probably spent, well, $300. Obviously, that 60% is $300 because if 500 minus 300 is equal to 200. There, I'm done. All right, let's see. What else do we have in store here? Let me just put this down. I'll put this down, and here we go. Let's see. Oh, I think the first problem was asking what percent of money was left. Oh, well, we did both of these problems actually at the same time. The percent of money that was left is 40% versus how much money was actually left. Well, that would be, what is 40% of 500, which we already answered as 200. There were 400 members in the swimming club. 12% of its members were children. The rest were adults. How many adults were there? All right. I think, how many were there? There's 400 members. All right. So if there's 400 members and 12% were children, the rest were adults. 12% children. The rest were adults. So I'm already going to say, to get the number of adults, you know that the percentage of children plus the percentage of the adults has to equal 100. So if I take 100% and I subtract off 12%, I will get the number of adults. So the percentage of the adults, it's 88%. So I'm dealing with 88% adults. What is 88% of 400? Because you start off with 400 people, 88% of that, and you can calculate that, figure that out. I think, I'm not sure about the easiest way to go about this problem. Let's see. I think maybe what I'll do is I'll figure out what, let's figure out what 1% is, and then we'll multiply that 1% by 88. So 1% of 400 is 4. You just take the 400 and move the decimal place 2 times to the left. And then if you want to multiply that by 88, well, that's a little bit tougher. 88, there's a time symbol here. So 4 times 8, 816, that would be 32, yeah? And this would be 32 as well. But then you add that, so this would be 35. So it's 352. So if you started off with 40% or 400 people, and you told me that 12% were the children, then I would tell you 352 people were the adults. If you ask me for the percentage of the adults, I would tell you 88%. All right, the other way to do this problem is actually to focus in on the children first. Well, figure out what is 12% of 400. Okay, well, we already know what 1% of 400 is. It's 4. Multiply that by 12 as opposed to 88, because now we're figuring out how many children there are. Let's see, that's much easier to do. That would be an 8. That would be a 4. So 12 times 4 is 48. And this is how many children are in this group of 400 people. So if you're asking me for the adults, what I would do is I would take my 400 people and subtract off the 48 children, and I would get 352 adults. It's 2 separate ways of getting about the same answer. Hopefully that helps.